Hello everybody. So in this video, I'm going to be going over my Module 10 project. And so what this project does is it takes in some user input and it's going to create a scalable vector graphic. So let's jump right into it. So we've got this file here called shapes.js. We've got a parent class called shape. So this is going to take in a color, and then we're going to use a set color function here to set the background color of the SVG. And so this SVG is going to be one of three shapes. So we've got another class here called square that extends the shape class. Another class down here, the circle class that also extends shape. And then the third child class called triangle. And so in all three of these classes, we're going to have a render function. What that render function does is it takes in some HTML and that's going to print to the page for us. And then down here, we're going to export the square, circle, and triangle classes. So we got a couple tests here. So we're going to import these, the square, circle, and triangle classes. And then we're going to run 3 tests. So we're just checking to make sure that all of these 3 different types of SVGs are being generated correctly. So let's open this up here in the integrated terminal. We're going to do npm run test to make sure these are all working. Alrighty, so these are all working here, as you can see. So that just means the square is being created correctly, the circle's being created correctly, and the triangle's being created correctly. So we'll jump over here into the index file, and here we're just we're downloading Inquirer. We've got the file sheet, and then also we're importing circle, square, and triangle as well. And so right here, we're using the Inquirer, and we're asking a series of prompts. So we've got 4 questions here in our prompts array. So we're asking for the text. This is the text that's going to be displayed on top of the SVG background. And so you're going to be able to submit up to 3 characters here. And then down here, this will be the color of that text. Here, we have 3 different choices. We have a circle, triangle, or square. This is going to be the shape of the SVG. And then lastly here, we have the color of the shape itself. So this will be the color of the background. We've got a write file function here. And so we're going to end up ultimately, we're going to use the write to file function to create a new file called logo.svg, and then we're going to push that content onto it. And then it's also got an error catch here. So we're creating a class here called SVG. We've got the SVG text, we're setting that to an empty array because we need to get the user input. And then we're doing the same thing here for the shape. And then we've got a render function. We've just got some boilerplate code here for an SVG. And then it's going to take in that shape input and that text input as well. And then here also we're going to take in the text content and then also the color. And then we've got also some boilerplate stuff here. And then also a render function here to draw that for us. Then we're using an async function here. We're running this init file, and so what that's going to do is it's going to set this SVG string variable to an empty string. This empty string will eventually be populated with all the HTML text that we're going to put on that logo.svg file, and then that's ultimately going to print that SVG for us. We've got an SVG file. This is the file that we're going to create. It's called logo.svg. And then since we're using an async function, we've got to use this keyword await. And so we're taking in all the answers from those prompts, setting them equal to a const called answers. We're initializing this text input here to an empty string. And then this is just a little check here. Just to see if they're entering more than 3 characters, it's going to throw an error here. And then if it doesn't have more than 3 characters, we're going to fill up this empty string with whatever the user inputted. Down here, we're creating a variable called font color, and we're setting that equal to the color of the text that the user inputted in the prompt section. We're doing the same thing down here. Taking a variable called SVG color and setting it equal to what the user inputted for shape color. And we're creating a variable called selected shape and setting it equal to what the user inputted for the shape. So down here, we're creating a variable called generated SVG, and we're checking to see here if this was a square, a circle, or a triangle. So if it was selected square in the prompt section by the user, we're going to create a new square from the class object that we imported. And so we're going to set that equal to generated SVG. And if they selected circle, then we'll create a new instance of the circle and set that equal to generated SVG. And then since the only other possibility is a triangle, we're just going to use an else statement here and then set generated SVG equal to a new instance of the circle. And then down here, we're going to take that generated SVG. By this point, it'll be either a triangle, circle, or square. And then we're going to set the color to the user input for color. And so now we're going to create a new instance of the SVG and set it equal to this variable we have called SVG. And we're going to set the text here and assign that to that SVG variable. So we're going to assign it to the text input. These are the 3 characters or less that the user inputted. And then also the color of the text. And then we're going to set it, we're going to take the set SVG shape function, target that SVG variable again, and we're going to use generated SVG. This contains the shape itself, whether it's a circle, triangle, or a square, and also the background color of the SVG. And then we're going to call that render function to print that for us. We're going to write to the file. Remember, this SVG file is logo.svg, so we're going to see that pop up here in a second. And then we're going to be printing all of that HTML that we've created on lines 211 and lines 213. And then we call that a init function. So we'll open this up in integrated terminal. We're going to call node index here. Do WYO, because I'm from Wyoming. Enter that. We'll say we want blue for our color. We'll select a circle. And let's make this red. Alrighty, so we've got this logo SVG here. And so here we have this boilerplate, and we've got it filled in with some of the variables. So we've got red here, circle here, blue here, and then our text input. So we just open this up with live server, and there we are. The SVG has been created.